All right, let's talk about learning Python. Today, we're going to break down a super effective roadmap for anyone who's trying to get good at it. We've taken an expert's 10 commandments and boiled them down into a clear set of rules that'll take you from feeling totally stuck to actually feeling confident. So let's jump right in.
So why do so many people just give up on Python? I mean, you've probably been there, right? You start a tutorial, you're all excited, and then bam, you hit a wall. The code just doesn't work, the errors are totally confusing, and you start to feel like you're just not smart enough for this. Well, if that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. But here's the secret. The problem isn't you. It's usually the way you're approaching it, and we're here to fix that.
So, to make these 10 rules really easy to stick in your brain, we're not just going to list them out. We've organized them by theme into a simple framework. First, we'll cover the foundation. That's all about your mindset. Then, the practice, your daily habits. And finally, the polish, the stuff that helps you achieve mastery. And then we'll wrap up by talking about your journey and what comes next.
Okay, first up, the foundation. Look, before you even write a single line of code, your success really begins with how you're thinking about it. These first few rules are all about getting your head in the right space from day one.
The biggest mental shift you need to make is rule number 9, focus on problem solving. Seriously, programming isn't about memorizing a bunch of commands, it's about being a detective. Your real job is to look at a challenge, break it down into tiny, logical steps, and then use code as your tool to build a solution. So always be asking yourself, how can I solve this one little piece at a time?
Next up is Rule 5, and this one is huge. Understand errors, and please, don't be afraid of them. I know, seeing that red text pop up is scary, but don't panic. Python is literally trying to help you. That error message is a clue pointing you right to the problem. Learning to read those messages and fix the bugs, that's a skill called debugging, and it's one of the most important things you'll ever learn.
And that brings us to rule number 3, which is all about getting your hands dirty. Write the code yourself. We've all done it, right? You just watch a tutorial and copy what the person on screen is doing. It feels productive, but you're not really learning. The magic, the real learning, happens when you pause that video and try to figure out the logic on your own. That struggle is not a sign of failure. It's the feeling of your brain actually getting stronger.
And that's really the whole point of this first section, isn't it? Real growth in programming comes from that active mental effort, not from just passively watching someone else do it. When you force yourself to think, to really wrestle with a problem, that's when you grow.
Okay, so we've got our mindset right. Now let's move on to our second section, the practice. This is all about the actual things you do every day that turn theory into a real skill.
This brings us to the most important rule of all. Rule number 1, master the basics first. I know, so many beginners want to jump straight into building a fancy AI or a cool website. But that's like trying to write a novel before you know the alphabet. You have to build a strong foundation with these core concepts first. You can't build anything without variables, loops, and functions. Master these, and trust me, all the advanced stuff becomes so much easier.
Now for one of the most powerful habits you can build, and that's rule number 2, practice daily. You know, trying to cram for 5 hours on a Sunday is way less effective than doing just 30 minutes every single day. Daily practice keeps everything fresh in your mind, it builds momentum, and it makes coding feel like a normal, manageable habit instead of some huge, scary thing you have to do.
And this is where it gets really fun. With rule number 4, apply what you learn with small projects. I mean, reading about a function is one thing, but actually using a function to build a calculator that works, that's when the concept really sticks. Small projects are how you connect the dots, and they build your logic, your confidence, and a portfolio you can actually show people.
And that's the key takeaway for this whole section. It's not about these heroic, all-night coding sessions. It's about the small, consistent effort you put in every single day. That is the real secret to long-term success.
All right, time for our final set of rules, the polish. You've got the mindset, you've got the practice habits. These next rules are about those little refinements that take you from someone who can just write code to someone who can write code well. Let's start with rule number 6. Follow Python syntax strictly. Python is famous for being clean and easy to read, but it's also super strict. Just one extra space in your indentation can break your whole program. Paying close attention to these little details, like case sensitivity or remembering your colons, isn't just about making the code work, it's about developing the discipline and precision of a real pro.
Rule number 7 is to learn a little bit about how Python actually works under the hood. You don't need a computer science degree, but knowing a few key things is a game changer. For instance, Python is an interpreted language. That's a fancy way of saying it reads and runs your code one line at a time, from top to bottom. Understanding that helps you find bugs way faster and write smarter code, because you know how the computer is thinking.
Next up, and this one's a biggie, is rule number 8, read other people's code. Think about it. You'd never expect to become a great author if you never read any books, right? Well, it's the exact same with coding. Go on a site like GitHub and just look at simple projects. Seeing how other developers solve problems is an incredible way to learn new tricks, find better ways to do things, and improve your own style.
And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Being a pro isn't just about getting the right answer, it's about how you get there. Writing code that is clean, organized, and easy for someone else to read, that's the true sign of a professional.
So we've covered the mindset, the practice, and the polish. Now, let's bring it all together and talk about where you go from here. Because learning to code isn't a final destination. It's a journey that never really ends.
See, once you've truly mastered the basics, this entire world of possibilities just opens up. Python is your key to so many amazing fields, like data science, web development, or even cybersecurity. So the final rule, rule number 10, is to never, ever stop learning. Pick a path that gets you excited, go deeper, and always stay curious, because technology is always changing.
You know, if you only take one single thing away from all of this, please let it be this. It's not about how fast you're learning compared to someone else. It's about your own consistent, daily effort. That is the only guaranteed path to success.
So now you have the roadmap. You've got the mindset, the methods, and the path to mastery. The only